to drive the 13 Mitigator Ford Fusion. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.tv.
Jr., driver of the number 5 Kiker Motorsports Camry. Welcome to Let's Talk Racing TV.
With Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tiffany Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, this is Dylan Smith. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Amber Colvin. I'd like to thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
It's a cool racetrack as well.
Take your golf club. See if you can get in 18 holes at Pebble Beach.
All right. Okay, we're rolling. Okay, welcome
Hey,
to
we're
Let's
on the
Talk
air.
Racing. Yeah, we're sitting there just chewing the fat and didn't even notice. We have Elton Sawyer with us tonight. How you doing, Elton?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm going to let you and Al finish your conversation, at least to restart it so everybody else gets to listen.
All right, let's tell our listeners and viewers who we got. 35 years ago, Elton, you came over from Chesapeake with not even a late model at that time, but anyway, has it been that long, 35 years? Is that about right?
I thought it was just last week.
Seems like it.
But yeah, it has been a long time. But it's a great it was a great time in my life, and I've got a lot of fond memories of the speedway, and obviously my professional career. It was kind of started there, so it's really cool.
Again, for you people who may not know, Elton Sawyer is from Chesapeake, went to Great Bridge, played a little high school sports, but not enough, not very well either. Began racing at Langley as a high school kid, and
I figured out real early that the University of Virginia, they weren't looking for 5'11", 165-pound defensive backs, so I better find something that I could do. And fortunately, my dad had been involved in motorsports as a youngster, and then obviously got married and had a family, and he carried me over there one Saturday night. We were actually sitting in the stands, and I guess as they say, the rest is history. But started out in the street division class, which back then we had street division, limited sportsmen, elite model sportsmen, and running 20, 25 lap races, and just a great way to get introduced to motorsports.
in your career you won. I've lost track of how many Langley championships. I think you won 3 NASCAR regional championships.
Actually, we were fortunate. We won 3 straight Langley championships.
Okay.
And then we're fortunate enough to win 2 straight Mid-Atlantic championships.
Okay, right.
So, again, had a great career, and was so fortunate to have great support cast. Back on it, and I had one of the best short track engine builders I feel like in the country, in Charlie High.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie's still a main force there at the Speedway now. And if you're fortunate enough to have one of his engines, then the rest of it's just making your car drive well. The rest of it will take care of itself.
And you and Jamie Jones worked pretty well together.
Oh, as you already say, that support cast included
And Eddie Pardue.
Yeah, J.J. Jones, who Jamie was the type of guy that I look as I got older and I look back, we had a very similar relationship that by no means would I compare myself to a Jeff Gordon or anyone like that, but that chemistry and that connection that we have As I've gotten older, and I know Ray Abraham, and I know a little bit, I know Jeff quite well. That chemistry they had and won, multiple championships and a lot of races at the highest level. Jamie and I had that at that level. He had a great deal of confidence in my ability, and I had all the confidence in the world that he knew what he was doing on the cars. And I think the results, over the years have shown that.
You had a terrific, I guess it would now be called Nationwide Series career. You won at you won at Myrtle Beach, you won at Loudon. I was thinking today, while I was getting my hair cut, what left of them there is, I was thinking today that I remember about 3 races you very easily should have won, and I've wondered while I was sitting there today, which of these races I'm about to mention, which one still kind of hurts the most? Was it losing at Martinsville when the flagman messed up, losing at Indy when Bosco got in your way, or losing at Bristol when what's his name from South Carolina gave you Buckshot? You and Buckshot got together late in the race there. Which of those Busch Series wins would have been the most important to you?
I think.
Or is there one that I'm missing? Is there one that I'm not remembering?
You've hit the 3 that still to this day has a little sting to them when they come up. I would have to say the Indy and Martinsville, obviously they rank right up there at the top. At that time, Indy would have been my win, and that was something that, and I can replay that, those last 5 laps, in my mind, even today. I mean, we came off, we're leading, Larry Pearson's running second by about, 5 or 6 car lengths there, and at that time we're not using spotters. We haven't got to that point in the Nationwide Series, or Busch Series at the time, now Nationwide. So we come off, turn 4, and I looked up, as I would always do, and, Larry's about 3 car lengths back, and as people remember, that speedway, and obviously the Nationwide cars don't run there. I think 2 years ago was the last time they were there. They now go to the big speedway. But anyway, you run in, you get up against the wall, so there's a lot of room at the bottom. There's just not a lot of grip down there, so you've got to really have your car driving well. So I was running the preferred line, and Larry's back there, and we come off turn 4 and take the white flag, and I looked up, and he's still a couple car lengths back. And we go down into 1, and as we come off 2, I looked up, and I was like, I just need to do what I've been doing. It should be okay. And as I go down in turn 3, I'm going to have to make a pass on a lap car, which, as you mentioned earlier, was Bosco Lowe. And I went in and slid up against the wall just like you normally would. And as I got to his outside right rear quarter panel, I noticed he was coming. He was still, going up the bank in there. It's like, okay, sure he knows I'm here. So as I got to his right rear tire, I knew that he didn't know I was there. He kind of got in, I had to make a move. Well, at that time, Larry had already made a move. He drove to the bottom. Well, I took him, drove under Larry, and was back to his door, but he still beat us back to the line by half a car length. So that one probably, although Martinsville is probably one of my most favorite racetracks, second only to Langley. That one stung as well, but I would have to rank the Indy one probably just a little bit above it. But they were both big, great cars that day, and felt like we should have won the race, but as it turned out, it didn't work out that way. So.
Elton, have you ever wondered what might have been if you had won Indy or won Martinsville, or you had won Bristol that night when Buckshot and you had that little issue with? Have you ever kind of thought back to, man, that's the break I needed, and I was so close? And
I tell you, I don't, because I was so fortunate. Again, I'm really was very fortunate to have the career at Langley that we had. All the support past, my dad, my family, the people I mentioned, and a lot of others as well. I'm reluctant sometimes to mention names because you leave someone out, but the Charlie Howes of the world, and Jamie, and Ashton Lewis, senior, big supporter. But as I look back, when you have time to do that, I feel like that was a great time in my, again, professional career. As I moved up to nationwide, I figured out real quick that, these guys are for real here. And, you've got to have a bigger support cast, and you got to have more financial backing. And we were, I felt like at that time, we were as good as anyone, from that standpoint. So I still look back. I had a great nationwide, again, push career. And I felt like that year in and year out, I was, the programs that I was with, we were top 10 in the points, and if we had a really good year, we were battling for top 5. Never felt like we were in position to really battle for a championship. And really, I could look in the mirror and say, man, I was giving everything I had, was working hard, but sometimes the talent may not have been there. But again, great career, and was fortunate.
You've sort of moved on from NASCAR now. You're now working with a Grand American Rolex sports car team around this area. People may not know much about that, but briefly tell us, who you work with, how you got that gig, and you're having some success, aren't you?
Yeah, we're having a great season. Backing up a few years, obviously, your driving career, when I'm at Langley, I'm thinking that you're going to drive forever. And it shows you real quick that it's a very short period of time in the big scheme of things where you actually get to get behind the wheel. So, you've got to kind of move on. And I love the team aspect of sport, whether it be baseball, basketball, football. Racing is no different. It is a team sport. It's about people. It's about, and we've got an automobile that we're dealing with. So, I've been fortunate enough to work with some great organizations, Bill Davis, Ray Abraham. Was fortunate to get a really good education going to Red Bull and helping put the infrastructure in place there for their Sprint Cup program. And then as that program dissolved, had the opportunity to, Gary Nelson, who I'm sure a lot of people know that name, was a very successful crew chief in the Winston Cup days with Kyle Petty and Bobby Allison. Was the crew chief for the 1983 championship with Bobby. And then worked for NASCAR he still claims that we're still working for them in some capacity. So Gary is the general manager of the program, and my role is basically I run the day-to-day operation and deal with the engineers and crew chiefs and the people side of it, and make sure we get from A to B. But we run 12 races. We run the big event for us is a 24 hours a Daytona. We have
and this is a Chevrolet-based team.
Yep.
Okay.
We have two Daytona prototypes. They're Chevrolets, at ECR engines. And the cars weigh about 2,350 pounds. They're on an 18-inch wheel, and they have about 600 horsepower. So they're top speed at Daytona. Entering the inner. We run the road course, obviously.
Right.
But as we leave the infield, get up on NASCAR 1, down the back straightaway, we'll see 190, 192. So our cars, they're pretty quick. So all of them are street course or road courses, and we run two. At the time, we run one street course, which is in Detroit, Michigan. So it's starting to get a lot more energy around it. Next year, the two premier road racing series in North America will merge, and it will become the United Sports Car Racing Series. Another debut next year, the 24 Hours of Daytona. So again, we're having a great season. We won 2 races. We have the big difference that the fans may not quite understand is each event we run 2 drivers in each car. We have 2 cars, car number 5 and car number 9, and each car has 2 drivers. And that's just the way the series has evolved. And each driver has their timed events. So most of our events are either 2 hours and 45 minutes, or we'll run a 24-hour race, or we'll run a 6-hour race, or which they call obviously endurance races. So again, right now we're Christian Fittipaldi and Joel Barbosa in one car, and Christian's actually second in the point, 2 points out of the lead with 2 races to go. And from the team side, we're 16 points out with that car. And you get 35 points to win, 32 for second, 30 for third, so forth and so on. So we're right there in the chase, and looking forward to getting to Laguna in a couple weeks, and then our season ends up in end of September at Lime Rock, Connecticut. These races can be seen on the new Fox 1 or Fox 2 sports channel.
Now, Elton, you mentioned the 24 Hours of Daytona. Next year, when the series merge, will you guys run Sebring? Will that be part of your deal, or will you basically have the same schedule you've always had?
Well, that's a great question. We were at a nice dinner in Elkhart Lake a couple weeks ago, and the sanctioning body and the administrators there were laying out some of those details. The schedule is not 100% in place at the moment, but we do know that we will start out at 24 Hours of Daytona. And there's a good chance, I'd say that, although it's not in stone, that Sebring will be on the schedule as well. So it looks like potentially we could run
I'm doing fine.
24-hour event. We could run a 12-hour event, moving on down to maybe a 10 and some 6-hour events too.
Now, you likely, Elton, would not go to Le Mans. Is that correct?
Well, I think that from a pure road racing fan perspective, and even from the teams, I think that's something that it's like growing up in America and wanting to be at the Daytona 500. For me, I'm only in my third year of the road racing series, so that's not. I don't know that it will or it won't be on the schedule, for 2014.
I would suspect you would go eventually to Austin, to Circuit of the Americas, wouldn't you?
Yeah, actually, this past year it's on our schedule. We
Okay.
Daytona first race, and Austin was the second one. Some of the other venues that we go to, Barbara Park in Alabama, Birmingham, just probably 20, 30 miles, straight down 20 past the Talladega.
Yes, just past Talladega. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful facility. Road Atlanta is on our schedule. 2 years ago we ran VIR. It wasn't on the schedule in 12 or 13. Elkhart Lake, which is a beautiful 4.8 mile course up in Wisconsin, same course that the Nationwide Series ran on a month or so back. So there's some great venues. Detroit, which is a street course, which is out on the Belle Isle Island there, and in the background you can see the GM Towers, so that's a great view as well. So it's really, to me, racing is racing. Whether we're racing at Langley Speedway on Saturday night, or we're racing at Daytona 500, or we're racing at Belle Isle with a sports car. It's about pit stops. It's about paying attention to detail. It's about good teamwork, good engines, good cars. People working hard together. So the cars do the same thing. Our drivers get out and they say it won't turn, steer, or it's oversteer, we just lose. So the cars do the same thing, and we work on them very similar.
Have you been tempted even a little bit to ask if they'll let you get in one?
No, I'm scared to do that because I know what will happen, and my wife is and I are definitely not looking at our driving careers any longer. So I'm not. It's a tough enough job. I look back on it, kind of long drawn out answer to your question. When you were driving, I showed up and I made sure I had my helmet and on-site uniforms and stuff like that, and get ready. You get in the car and you're focused on driving. I'm focused on making the car do and communicating back to the crew or the engineers on what the car's doing, and they can make adjustments accordingly. On this side, it's completely different from that perspective, in that everybody there needs, you're moving people and equipment from point A to point B. So from hotel rooms and per diem and managing a program, it takes a full-time effort and a lot of energy. So for me to think that I can go in there and drive the car or even attempt to do that, that would be foolish on my part. I wouldn't attempt that.
Of course, if it's a road racing car, Patty would probably do better than you would anyway. So.
Oh, absolutely. I tell her all the time that I'm hanging out with her people now and road race. And a lot of the names that and people, the administrators and all that we deal with, are very familiar with Patty. So I have to come home and ask her the questions about some of these places that we're going to.
Let me ask you one last question. Let you get out of here. We keep joking. You and I keep joking about you coming back to Langley for a Saturday night and getting in a late model. And you said you'd do it if the race only went about 20 laps. That you think you're still as good for 20 as you've ever been, but if they get beyond 20, you're probably going to be hanging out.
Yeah, I think.
If I get you a ride, will you come up here one weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I need to make sure that each day that goes by, I shorten the race distance. Now I'm down to about 17 laps.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure it's going to be worth my while, but anyway,
let me tell you what, I think we'd pack the house if we could get you and Phil and Bubba and Charlie Doyle and Hanbury. If we can get an all-star race of the old guys for about 20 laps in late models, we could pack the place.
Yeah, sign me up. I tell you, every time, you obviously you're a great friend, and we speak quite a bit. But that 80s, that 1981 to about 1985 and 86. I'm sure over the years, and I'm sure now, there's great racing there, and I keep up with as much as I can with C.E. Falk. He's a tremendous young talent, and obviously the Edwards boys and those guys. But that period of time, obviously Bubba Adams and Wayne Hanbury and Charlie and Phil Warren had a tremendous career as well. That was some of the best racing that I tell people all the time. I enjoyed my nationwide and limited cup experiences and career, but man, that period of time there at Langley was pretty special.
The only guy you would recognize in the pits now, Eddie Johnson's still racing.
Yep.
So Eddie's still there. You and Eddie would have a good time talking again.
That's great. So you guys have a good evening and get that race lined up there, Alan. Maybe we'll do 15. If we keep talking, we'll have it down to a 10-lap race.
Elton, I appreciate your time, and good luck at Laguna. And I'll bump into you somewhere. We'll get along and go have a hot dog somewhere.
Well, that sounds great. Or maybe we'll just take a trip from Rocky Mountain down to Daytona and catch a race every now and then.
We've done that before. Have a good time. Say hello to Patty Force. Behave yourself.
Okay, pal.
Thanks, E. Bye-bye. I tell you what, as good a short track racer as this area's ever produced, and just needed the one little break, needed the one great finish in front of the right people to maybe go right on.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
At least he got to do the Busch Series. I mean.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he won at Myrtle Beach. He won at Loudon. He won poles in the Busch Series. He had an okay Cup career. Worked for some good teams. Worked for some good sponsors.
Let's talk racing.
Great guy. Known him 35 years or so.
Yeah, but we're close.
I think we've got somebody else. I just don't know who it is.
9 o'clock. Okay, bye-bye.
Roger just wandered off.
I thought it may have been Jack have called in and thought he was hanging on hold there for so long he called back in again, but it was somebody else.
Somebody's blinking right there.
You there, Jack?
Hey, it's me.
Hey, Jack, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
We didn't mean to let Elton Sawyer go on and on and on, but
oh yeah, we did.
We only get him once or twice a year, so we thought we'd let him talk a little bit about sports car racing.
Yeah, I like him. I like him too. I've met him a few times myself.
So how are things going up at Richmond?
Oh, let me tell you something. They've been working hard up there in Richmond. It's been hot, and it is unbelievable. They've got all kinds of stuff going on up here.
Well, the problem is they're practicing right now in weather conditions that will be similar, but not anywhere, similar to what they've got coming up in 2 weeks. Are teams able to get a baseline with weather being so uncertain for 2 weeks from now? or do they just kind of shoot in the dark and see what they got?
Well, during the daytime, they're kind of shooting in the dark. What they're doing, they're trying different packages during the day. I know the 48 was trying a brand new brake package this week, and seeing what they got for Richmond coming up. They're trying to do something different there. The 24 is trying to work on getting some more speed in the car, and the 5, I know he's been working on long runs all during the day. But at nighttime, when they practiced last night, they all got together. The Michael Waltrip cars and the Hendrick cars got together and ran a 40-lap race last night in the conditions that they would be running in, and they were trying to see what they could come up with as far as a baseline for 2 weeks when they come back in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Any surprises? Anything that that's happened that's kind of unexpected?
Well, no, not really. I mean, they're basically just doing their same old, run a few laps here, come in, change this, run a few laps. I know they have rebuilt Jeff Gordon's car from where he started yesterday, and last night the people from Richmond had to run them out of the track after 11:30 last night because they were still there trying to change the car again.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's nothing really big as far as. I think the biggest thing I saw was AJ Allmendinger driving the 55 this weekend up here at this test.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I guess Vickers could not be there or had a prior commitment.
Yeah, supposedly he's getting married pretty soon, from what I'm hearing, and he's working on some wedding plans. So he had a prior commitment and couldn't be there.
Okay, and I guess Mark Martin was not scheduled to run that race, so he probably had made plans to be somewhere else tonight. So,
yeah, from what I understand, after they made the announcement last week that he wasn't coming back, they just kind of sent him on his way over to Stuart Haas, and he wasn't even. I don't think he was even asked to come run the test.
Okay. Do you get any rumors? Do you hear any rumors about the confirmation that Austin Dillon is definitely moving up next year?
Yes, he is. The Advocare sponsorship that he had this year in Nationwide is now moving over to Trevor Bain for next year.
Right. Okay, so that's pretty much a signal that Austin will be somewhere else next year.
Right, and from what I understand, Ty's going into the 3, and he's bringing his sponsorship with him. When he comes with, he's bringing the whole Bass Pro Shops and everything with him.
Okay.
And Austin is going to Cup, but they haven't made the official announcement. But Advocare said in their announcement they had today that with him moving to the Sprint Cup, they were going to move their sponsorship over to the Roush Fenway and join Trevor Bain.
Right. Okay. And I guess it has not been. I mean, it's funny. I emailed a former RCR employee the other day, a friend of mine, Dave Hart, who was with RCR for years, and I told him that it seemed very odd that the announcement about Ty moving up was very underplayed. It was not. There was no big deal. There was no teleconference. There was no video conference. There was no come down to the shop for lunch. We're going to tell you some things. It just slipped out in a printed press release, and I wonder why they're playing it down like they are.
And I think it's all because they didn't want it to get out about what Austin's plans for next year. But I mean, everybody knew that was going to happen anyway. So I don't understand why they waited so long on that either, and not even make any kind of an announcement on it.
Yeah. I know that the brewery, the Yingling or whatever it's called, brewery, just going to sponsor Ty Dillon next year. I think that's right. Yeah, some beer brewer or somebody from up north is going to sponsor his Nationwide car. They mentioned in their release that they were going to sponsor Ty, who's moving to Nationwide to replace his brother, who's moving up. But not a word from RCR officially that was the case, but we know it is. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody in Richmond is under the same impression that that's going to be a move that's going to be making anyway. So. You know, it's not a big deal. Why don't they go on and just say something about it and let it out? But I don't know what the holdup is.
Well, I think probably the holdup is that Childress would like to announce it on his terms when he's ready to, and it's too late now. It's already gotten out. And I think they want to have a big unveiling. And I think you and I and Roger and everybody else agree it'll be the number 3 Cup car. That 3 will look just like Big Dale's old number 3. It may not be black and silver, but it'll be number 3, and that's what fans have been waiting for.
And that's what Austin's been wanting. And I think you know, Richard, that this is the one person other than Dale Earnhardt Jr. that would take that number. I mean, I don't think anybody else would. So.
Yeah.
But
Jack.
it's been an eventful couple days watching all these changes. They've had the Germain cars were here, the Penske cars, but they left after yesterday, and then it's Michael Waltrip and all the Hendrick cars.
Okay.
It's been pretty hectic. They've been on the track. I mean, they'll make 5-10 lap runs and come back in. But then last night they did the race, so that was kind of neat to watch that too.
Yeah, I guess is Junior up there also?
Who?
Junior.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the Hendrick cars are there.
Okay. You know, I'm thinking. I mean, Jimmy's obviously going to make the chase. He's virtually locked in. I guess he is locked in by now.
Yeah.
Gordon is on the edge. Junior is on the edge, and so is Kane. Jack? Do you see any signs of not panic, but any signs of concern, or do you notice any pressure? Can you see anything that lets you believe these guys are really worried about their situation, or does it just seem business as usual?
Well, I think with the 5 and the 88, it's kind of like business as usual for them. I don't see anything going on there. But being as close as I was to the 2014 for the 2 days, I think they're in one of those little modes that they're figuring they've got to do something to get in this. And I think they're under the gun, and they're trying to do everything they can. And I think the 48 team is trying to help them.
Okay. Now, I know the 24 team, Jeff runs really well at Bristol, but we all know that may not make any difference at Bristol. You can be leading with 3 to go and get wrapped up in somebody's mess. He runs really well at Atlanta, and he runs okay at Richmond. I would assume that they feel they need at least one win. They can't count on points at this point, can they?
No, they cannot, and that's what they were saying is they got to have a win between now and Richmond. They've got to come up with Richmond being the last race, but they've got to come up with a win. Pretty much, Kane's got to win, and Dale Jr. I don't know.
He's only 20 points to the good. He's only 20 points inside the top 10.
I just think, for me, I just don't see him. I don't see him. He just doesn't show me that he's into it. I watched him the last 2 days. He just seems like he's kind of just he's there to drive the car, and that's it. That's all he does.
Yeah. I sat down today, and my magazine Auto Week asked me to come up with how many scenarios there are to get into chase, and here's what I figure: 1 through 6 are pretty locked in. You got Johnson, Boyer, Edwards, Harvick. Bush is 6th in points. I forget who's 5th, but the top 6 I think are locked in. I don't know, but that Junior is kind of on the bubble. Now I cannot remember all. Oh, Kurt Busch obviously is not safe by any means.
No,
and I believe you can go down to 15th. I think Newman with a win is probably the last guy that you can sort of say, okay, he's the cutoff point. Anybody below Newman's probably not going to make it. and they said, can you figure out the scenarios for those 9 drivers trying to get in the last 5 or 6 spots? And I said, you can't do it.
You can't do it because you can't tell what's going to happen.
Right.
I was talking to the guys on the 15 today, and everything they were doing in the test, they were doing for the 56.
Oh, okay.
To help the 56 get into the chase.
Yeah.
So they were doing a lot of stuff, but the two of them were working together, making changes that would help both teams. But basically, everything was for the 56 because they're on the bubble.
So right now, Kane with a win and 11th has the first wild card.
Right.
Truex with a win has the second wild card.
Right.
Ryan would be.
Logano he's 12th in points, I believe. Call up your points there, Roger, and figure it out.
I'm trying to get it up. It had to do
Okay.
reboot.
The point I'm making is you've got Windlass Jr. is a chase possibility. Windlass Kurt Busch is still Keselowski doesn't have a win. Now he's in the top 10 without a win. He can't afford even one slip up. So to make a long story short, I told my people that you simply cannot go down and figure out the scenarios, because if you take one guy out of the top 10 and another guy moves in, that might change the wild card scenario. So I'm willing to bet that most of them are thinking, let's don't worry about what can happen. Let's just do the best we can, and when the smoke clears, just like last year for Gordon, we'll see where we stand.
I think that's the approach they're taking.
Yeah.
But just being around the Dale Jr. and that group over there, I mean, it's just like business as usual for them. But in my eyes, he doesn't seem to. I mean, I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he's connected like he should be to get ready for this.
But to be honest about it, though, when has he ever seemed to be connected?
Well, that's true. That's
I mean,
very true.
now, in his defense, he is the most laid-back, easygoing, calm on the exterior person that among the most calm you'll ever see. He doesn't show a lot of emotion no matter what. But I would think that if I was still winless after 21 races or whatever, and I was trying to make the chase, and I was on the verge of maybe blowing it, because at one point he was 3rd or 4th in points.
Yeah, he was all the way. Yeah, he was 3rd at one point.
And he has slipped precipitously lately, and I think I'd be a little bit concerned, and maybe he is. Maybe on the inside he is worried to death. But I'm like you, Jack. I watched him. I see him at. Last time I saw him was at Pocono, I guess, and he just doesn't seem like it's any great weight on his shoulders, and it may not be.
You're right. It may not be because But today and yesterday, they were right there with the 24, and I was watching him. He's just not. He's not connected with what's going on around him. All the engineers were there working with what they had, and of course, Latart was in there working with them, and all they did was, all right, you need to go get the car, and he'd go get the car, run a few laps, come back. I mean, there was no interaction there at all.
If you kind of wonder if they had won a race or two and were running really well, we'd even be having this conversation. Would we worry about him being uninvolved if they were having some success? The fact that they're not having success raises all sorts of questions about why. Everybody says, well, he's getting the same stuff that the other 3 cars are getting. Well, he's getting similar stuff. I don't believe anybody's getting the same stuff that Johnson's getting. I just don't believe it. Now, they may. Here's the thing. They may be getting the same parts and pieces. They're not getting the same personnel. And that might be the whole difference right there. It might be that Chad is in a maybe not a class by himself, but he's in a class that doesn't take long to call roll. There aren't many people in there.
He is all business when he's out there at the racetrack. At this test, he was all business.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got an itinerary. And he goes by, and he wants to make sure you go right down that list. And Ron Mallett, who is the car chief, there's a lot of interaction there. Jimmy gets out; he has a lot of interaction with both of them, and all the engineers. They're all on the same page. I mean, they were just. You could tell they had a plan for what they were going to do, and that's what they were going to work on. So I was really impressed with that. I mean, he does have he has a plan whenever he goes there. I think he's above and beyond some of the other crew chiefs.
That may be why they're a 5-time champion.
I believe it is. And I tell you, he knows how to play the game too, because they when they got there yesterday, they had their toolboxes across the back of the garage area. And he got there and he told them, no, we're not going to do it this way. He wanted his turn to the side where the other teams couldn't see what he was doing. It was really fun because they had to get out and change everything to fix it so nobody else could see. And then I was walking around in the backside. He doesn't even know me. I was walking around the backside and I had a camera and I kind of took a couple pictures, but I was taking the 24. I wasn't even looking at the 48. And after I left out of there, he went over and tried to find out who I was and see what I was taking pictures of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You spy, you.
So, after Lee, my son, come up and told me, he said, hey, don't be taking any pictures of the 48 because he's really hot. He don't like doing stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, hey, I ain't taking the pictures of the 48 anyway. I was doing the 24, so.
Now, are they testing? They're still testing tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, not all of them. A lot of them left early.
Okay.
Because they got to get back and make the switch and then go to Bristol.
Go to Bristol. Yeah. Okay.
So they're trying to. I mean, I think the Penske cars went back yesterday. Jermaine has gone back, and the Waltrip cars they left right after like 3 or 4 o'clock. They were gone.
Okay. But the Hendrick guys are still there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now you were talking in the points. You know Brad Keselowski is not that far out to 10th also.
Yeah, well, you got 3 guys there. You've
146, 148, 150.
Yeah. You got Junior, Keselowski, and Busch are all winless, and they're 7, 8, 9. And, Greg Biffle, here's the thing about the chase. If Greg Biffle loses a couple points Saturday night and falls to 11th in points, he is suddenly the number 1 wild card guy, and the guy who was in 11th might have had a great night, but he's suddenly bumped down a spot, and if he has even a semi-bad night, let's see, conceivably Truex could yield to Logano. If Biffle comes down to 11th, Casey goes to 12th, Truex and Logano and Newman at the time being are out. So it's just crazy.
I mean, there's still not that big a points difference. You got 3 races to go yet. So
I think Kurt Busch is 8 out of the 8 into the good, which is nothing. I mean, you can get 8 points with a sneeze. So
I mean over 11, 6 points.
Over 11th, yeah, okay, 6, okay.
Yeah.
So, well,
see, it can change a lot between now and Richmond. I can guarantee you that. But I know all the Waltrip cars are going to Chicago next week for their test, for another test. And I think the 24 is going to take a couple weeks, and then after I guess whatever. Well, it's the week before Richmond. I think they're going to be testing Homestead. No, Texas. They're going to Texas and then Homestead.
okay.
So I mean, they got some. I mean, everybody has saved their tests for this part of the season, and they got them all lined up what they're going to do, and I think you're going to see a whole lot of changes.
I'm thinking you've got Richmond, you got Bristol, which it's hard to test for Bristol because you really can't find a venue close enough to Bristol to give you a good, at this time of year anyway.
Not even at Rock.
Little Rock? Little Rock's not banked nearly high enough, is it?
No, Little Rock is based on Martinsville.
Yeah, so they wouldn't go there. I'm surprised teams are not testing at Texas this week or next week to get ready for Atlanta, because those two tracks are somewhat similar. I don't know what Chicago's like. I don't know why they'd be going out there, unless they think they're going to be in the chase anyway, and they want to get a test in at the first points track that they'll go to in the chase. But I would think the 24 car and maybe the 11 would want to test at a place that would give them the best chance to run well at Atlanta.
Well, I think they're going to take a week off from testing because they've tested the last 2 weeks, and then they're going to test. They're going to Texas, but I think that's the week before Richmond. They're planning on going to Texas for that test.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why they go to. I wonder why they test at Texas after being at the track most like Texas the week before. So
I don't understand that either. But,
hey, listen, they're a lot smarter than we are, quite frankly. They know what they're doing.
well, I hope so. I hope they do. I hope they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't pretend to second guess what Mr. Hendrick and Doug Ducard and Ron and Chad and those guys are thinking. I think they probably know what's going on. So.
Well, I'm sure they do.
There is a plan in place.
It's been kind of interesting.
Yeah. Any other good rumors up there while we got you?
I haven't heard anything. The only thing I've heard that, well, they were telling me today that that deal with Fitch will be announced on September the 1st, and now I'm hearing that it looks like it's going to be James Busher going to the 51.
Turner Scott guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the defending Truck Series champion, I believe.
Yeah, right. So that's the word that is. He's going to buy the team, and Busher is going and not Allgaier.
Oh, okay. Well, we keep hearing Allgaier may go to the 47.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a whole lot of stuff. They're talking with the 47. I'm also hearing that AJ Allmendinger is real hot with the
I'm sorry.
right now.
I'm sorry. I meant Allmendinger. I didn't mean Allgaier. I meant Allmendinger maybe to the 47.
Yeah, well, that's one thing they've been talking about. But I'm hearing now that he's real hot with Ganassi too. Ganassi's wanting to talk with him too because they're going to give him a chance to run the Nationwide and Cup.
Huh.
Well, where does Kyle Larson fit in?
I don't know. From what I'm hearing, they're thinking maybe they're going to give him one more year in Nationwide.
Okay.
Now,
What I'm hearing.
You know what I think would be a great deal? I think if Chip Ganassi would let Mark Martin be Kyle Larson's coach and let them split a year in the 42 car.
That would be good.
Because Mark wants to run. He doesn't want to run the full schedule. I'm wondering whether Martin would be a good coach. I think he would be a good coach for Larson. Let Larson run the full Nationwide schedule. Let Larson and Martin divide time in the 42 car. And at the end of 14, Larson goes full time and Mark goes off into the sunset.
Yeah, that would be a perfect scenario if they would do that.
Why don't you spread that around while you're up there? And
But the thing about it is I think that this is all coming down on something about with the sponsorship package they got going on. So I don't know. I don't know that for a fact.
well, but if you're Target and you put up with Montoya for 7 years,
you can switch over to a nice.
I believe Mark Martin and Kyle Larson is a fairly attractive alternative.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use Larson to bring kids into Target. You could use Martin to bring the old folks into Target.
because he's still got a huge fan base.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I may float that balloon tomorrow.
Yeah, you need to push that out there because you might get more done with it than I could.
Well, maybe we'll let Bob Pockers do it for us. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Now, any ideas where Pablo's going to go?
Probably back to IndyCar.
Okay.
Apparently, Michael Andretti would like to have him back, and thinks he can sell him
Huh.
to sponsors.
Now, have you heard anything lately on Tony? What's happening with him?
He broke his leg. Did you know that?
No shit.
Yeah, he broke his leg.
In 2 places, I heard.
Yeah, well, at one place in Iowa.
Ha ha.
He broke his leg in one. Yeah,
But it's broken his leg in the.
his leg is broken in 2 places, but it was broken in one place.
But
I don't. I'm stunned. I will tell you people right now, and I may have said it 3 weeks ago. I really thought he'd be back by Richmond.
Yeah, I think that was the plan. That was the plan. Everybody thought he would.
has something changed? Because I haven't really heard that much on it.
Well, he's done for the year.
Oh, they're saying he's done for the year?
Oh yeah, well they announced that.
Oh, geez.
Martin's going to go in that car now. Martin's going to drive the 14 car the rest of the year, except Talladega.
Yeah.
Where
They can't, like, throw Tony in for a lap and let him hop out?
I thought they would do that. I really did.
I mean, he's still the top 20.
Yeah, but he won't be after Saturday night.
Let's see. He'll lose
45 points, whatever the number is.
Yeah, that's right. In the driver's points, yeah.
Yeah, he. 45.
Anyway, he's done. I tell you, Jack, that surprised me because I really thought that he got hurt the first Monday night in August, so he had an operation immediately, and he sat out that entire week. He sat out the week leading into Michigan. He's sitting out the week leading into Bristol. He would have sat out the week leading into Atlanta. That would have been a month, basically, in a room with his leg up, not doing anything. And he could have come back. Maybe he could have started in Atlanta, started Richmond, hope his relief driver could win a race and still make the chase.
Yeah.
But I was really, and I'll tell you, people, I was surprised. I was wrong. I thought they'd wheel him out there and put him in a car and run him. But
Evidently, it's more serious than what they're saying.
well, either that or NASCAR's doctors have said, you need to be able to get out of that car on your own power in 15 seconds or less with that thing's on fire, and we don't believe you can push off with your right leg to get out of there in time. So, you're already out of the chase. That might be what they're thinking. That he physically cannot get out of the car quickly enough on his own. Now, I remember back when Denny Hamlin had to use a pair of crutches to get to his car at Phoenix after he had a knee problem 3 or 4 years ago, and they let him finish. So I don't know.
But that time changes. They throw in extra rules on you.
Yeah, well, that's true. EIRI. But
what was it? Now he did have a second surgery too.
yeah, well, that was like on Thursday after the first one, so it wasn't like he had surgery again yesterday. It's been the 2 surgeries were pretty close together.
Yeah, they were 2 days apart.
Yeah. So, but he is out for the year. Although I don't believe anybody would be absolutely stunned beyond words if he didn't show up on a pit box, maybe in Atlanta or Richmond, to cheer his team on. I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Yeah, he's a team owner, so hey, he's going to be out there anyway.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Yeah.
But
isn't he already out of the hospital and everything?
Oh, he's been home since.
I thought I'd heard.
I think he watched Watkins Glen from home. They said.
Yeah, he went home, and from what I understand, they're still until the doctor clears him to do a lot of walking around, and he's still kind of laid up with his. They say he has to keep his leg above his heart.
Well, see, there's the problem right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a heart, where do you put your leg? I mean, when I saw that thing about when Zipadelli mentioned that the doctor said keep your knee or your leg above your heart elevated, I thought, well, if you don't have a heart, where do you put your leg? I mean, come on. So, actually,
I take a lap in the air and hope it flows back down.
Actually, I like Tony most of the time, but there are times when I absolutely couldn't care less about what happens to him.
Could give him a Gibbs slap upside the head.
Well, I know because he beat the snot out of me. But
But can't you run faster?
Pick on no, not like that.
Well, hold on. He put on a few pounds though.
Picking on an old man. So anyway.
Oh goodness.
All right, guys, I'll talk to you next week.
All right, have fun.
I won't be here. I'll be on my way to Atlanta, but you and Roger can hold the fort down.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
Later.
All right, bye.
That it? We done?
Oh, close enough. What the heck? I know. Well, that's right. You're not hungry.
I'm
so
not
I
going to
ain't
eat, so y'all know.
That should make you stay another 5 minutes then.
Well, the question to be determined is, so we're off the air though, aren't we?
No, we're not.
Okay. The question to be determined is whether Austin Dillon is ready to go cup racing. He's only won a handful of nationwide races.
Yeah.
I know he won the truck championship, but so did his brother. No, I don't think Ty won a championship yet. He's trying to win it this year. Austin's only run 10 cup races. I think he does not have a top 10 in any of them. But Childress and Mike Dillon have been around long enough to, I think, know what they've got. And I don't think they'd throw him to the wolves unless he was pretty ready for them. So,
Yeah. Don't be like some of the guys, toss them out there and they run some races and all of a sudden find out they can't deal it.
yeah, I thought maybe they would wait until next year, because Jeff Burton's leaving after 14. Menard will be there as long as his daddy's got money. And with Harvick leaving and Burton there next year, yeah, I guess Austin will be the third guy. Okay.
Money talks. We know how that is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
See everybody next week on Let's Talk Racing.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Robert Richardson Jr., driver of the number 23 Dodge Challenger for R3 Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and you're watching Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tony Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota in the NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Here's your 2011 champion, David Brehm.
Hi, this is David Polens, driver of the 33 NASCAR Late Model, 2011 Old Dominion Speedway Track Champion. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing TV.
I'm Sam Hunt, drive the 42 car on the thing Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, my name is Natalie Sather. I drive the 94 K&N